arms folded, flag hangs on the wall. Traded steel and thunder for silence in the hall. The mission's over, the deployment's done, they said. But the war inside my head, it hasn't left instead. Disappeared. The invisible wounds are the ones that are truly feared. I'm walking on a wire, the pressure's coming down. Is there anyone listening in this lonely town? Full speed ahead after battle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another show, Full Speed Ahead After Battle. I am your mental health coach, Josh McCabe, and we are here on the Military Broadcast Radio, where we give veterans a voice. What are we doing this week? Let's go ahead and throw out these numbers, just because I saw some new numbers today. I haven't looked too into it too much, but I'm sure they're fairly accurate from where I saw them at. Same numbers I put out every week, right? 22 veterans on average commit suicide every day. Numbers have fluctuated over the years, but we always stick with that 22 because that's that catchy number for some reason. When you factor in first responders, your firefighters, EMS, police, citizens, civilians, that number rises closer to around 30 or so average suicides a day. So if you just take the veterans themselves, that 22 a day number, that means within the 1 hour of this show, it is highly likely that one veteran will take his life. And that's why this show is here. That's why Military Broadcast Radio is here, is to give those veterans an outlet to either speak their mind, discuss what's on the topic of the day, whatever show you want to have, Military Broadcast Radio is here for that. It's also a great relaxing, getting into the podcasting, getting into the vlogging, anything like that. It's a way for you to express yourself. You know, a lot of veterans, they find it relaxing to write songs or do poetry, write books. Some do podcasting, some do acting, some do all kinds of things, but that's what we're here for. Now, I saw another statistic today that in 2026 alone, that means in just the 1 month and 2 days that we've been in 2026, 80,000 people have committed suicide in the U.S. Wrap your head around that. That number is 80,000 in just a matter of 1 month. 22 veterans a day. That's too many. That's why we're here. That's why this show is here, to help you talk about that transition from the civilian life, or from the service into the civilian life. The do's, the don'ts, the struggles, the successes. That's why we have professionals on here to help you with the resume writing, to help you with the mental aspect. Veterans that share their stories of what they went through, how good they did, the bad things that they did, so that you're not making the same pitfalls as them. So now that we got those numbers out of the way, this last week has been one heck of a ride for me. Let me fill you in. Friday, I'm going to tell you a little story real quick. When I was about 10 years old, my dad set me down, and he was in the National Guard, but he also worked for the Texas State Guard. So it was an everyday job. He set me down when I was about 10 years old and said, I have an opportunity to move to a different shop. He wanted to the option was to go from the woodworking shop to the canvas shop. He asked me what my thoughts were on it, and I said, well, is it worth more money? He said, yes, it would be a promotion, and it'd be more of a paycheck. And I said, of course. As a kid, I'm thinking, great, more money, more stuff to buy me, you know. selfish as a kid. But then he told me, you got to throw the factor in there of, is it something that you find fun, or is it something that you enjoy doing? Because all growing up, he always enjoyed woodworking and building things, desks and stuff. He's got it all over the state capitol, all kinds of things. Canvas was not his thing. So he decided to turn that promotion down. And at the time, I didn't understand it. But come along all these years trying to find my way in life, I went into the corporate world after I left the service for a few years, did 10 years in the corporate world, and I basically reached a plateau there. I felt I wasn't going to go any further in that company. And for me, I always like to, the saying is, train the job below you, learn the job above you. And that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy learning more. I enjoy doing more. I enjoy helping people. And it just wasn't happening at this position. So on Friday, 9 a.m., I submitted my 2-week notice. And within the 2 weeks, I will be leaving that company and starting anew. This morning, I went and had a quick doctor's visit about it. I had to do the proverbial test, as we all say, and inked a new deal. And I will tell you more about that later when it's definitive. It's pretty in stone, but not out there in the world yet. Let's just say it's a completely different chapter. It's something that's going to make me happier, I think, on the inside. It's going to give me more purpose in life because I'm going to be able to help other people on a more daily basis. And that's something that makes me happy. That's why I do this show. That's why I do all the things that I do, is to be able to help other people, to be able to help our veterans find their way in life after service, help them become successful. We'll work on that a little bit later on once I get started that new gig. But the good news didn't stop there. Last few months, I've been working with my local VSO. I've been going to the CMP appointments with the VA. And of course, I am not a fan of the VA. They've gotten better over the years, and especially since they started outsourcing more of their appointments and things like that. And for the CMP exams, it's exactly what they did. They outsourced me to another company here in Fort Worth, and I went there. Great people, very nice people. I thought it was going to take months and months of reviews and information, fact finding, they call it, before I would get a decision letter. I was thinking, the way the horror stories go these days, it's not going to be a first time around. You're going to have to do this a couple of times. I got an email today after my last appointment was just a couple of weeks ago. The VA actually approved my disability from 90% to 100% PNT. That's great. That helps out a lot, not just with this new direction in life, because yes, it is a little bit of a pay cut, but that also means more abilities, more help for my daughter's schooling, for my wife's insurance, secondary insurance, the benefits that come with it, base access, all the different things that come with being 100% disabled. Now, I can still work, but that does allow me that opportunity to find that position, like I said, that's gonna give me a little bit more motivation, something I'm a little more passionate about, happy to do. So, great news going on. Also, I got some recent great news from my father. If y'all been following along the story, stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. He just went and got some tests done a week ago, and so far, fingers crossed, there are no signs of the lymphoma. The blood tests aren't clear yet, but that is a positive step forward. He's got to do a little bit more testing and chemo, but it looks like he's pulling through this. And that is definitely a great thing for anybody that's out there that has ever had a family member go through cancer or anything like that. You know how hard that is. Luckily, they caught it in time, and looks like he's going to pull through. So good things there. Now, let's get on to the guest of the night. I told you last week we had a guest lined up, but unfortunately, as things do happen, he got called away on some travel business, and he's not able to be here tonight. So we're going to get that rescheduled, because I always want to have all my guests on here. That's why, I book them for a reason. I don't just book anybody to come on the show. I book people that have a message that want to be here to help. And I had somebody step in tonight, um, doing great things. He's been around the block a time or two, comes highly recommended. And so he's helping me out tonight. So without further ado, we're going to have our interview of the week, and we're going to bring on Mark Stallins.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Mark, welcome to the show.
Good evening. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm good.
Good.
57, be 58 in June. I'm a little worse for wear, but what are you gonna do, right?
Hey, we all get there at some point, right? At least you're that far.
Yeah. Hey, I'm at 70% on the disability. I technically have the full 100, but I'm compensated up to 70, and that's that. We're gonna revisit it. Like I always tell people, you're never out of the fight. And I always tell people that, guys at work, I drive a school bus, and I tell my coworkers, you start the week strong, you end the week strong. What you do in the middle of it is up to you, but you have to start strong and you have to finish strong. Those are always key elements for me when I'm in the world. So
So let's hear a little bit about Mark's story. Obviously, I mean, you're Navy, I'm Navy. This is going to be one hell of a show because you know what happens when sailors get together, right?
Chaos, utter chaos.
we drink the town dry and everybody gets pregnant. So
pretty much. Just depends on the port, right?
That's right. Got to be the right port.
So I joined the military. I joined the Navy in 1987, actually 86, under the delayed entry program. Went to boot camp at the Mighty Mistakes. Went to the A School for Aviation Boatswain's Mate Equipment. Actually became a yeoman of, talking about career changes.
Okay.
Physicality of the ABE job, I was really small and scrawny, and it was just not a good fit. I fit pretty okay as a yeoman. Got out in 91 after Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Got back in 9 months later because I needed the money, and then got in as a reservist. So I did the reserve time. I liked the camaraderie, liked hanging out with the shipmates. Going, 2 weeks, you go into a ship. That's always kind of cool.
Right.
And then my dad got really sick, and then he died, and I made the decision to go back in as what's now known as a TAR, a training administrative reservist. It had become full-time support, FTS, and then it became TAR again. I just wish the military would leave things alone.
But that's the only thing they're good at is changing things.
Right. I always tell people, hey, the one thing you can count on is it ain't going to stay the same, man.
That's right. That's right.
So I got back in and I retired in 2015. It took me 28 years to get 20. That broken service just extended the time that I worked. And I tell people, they say, how long were you in the military? 28 years. They go, but you're only getting paid day for 20 days. I don't care. I was still serving for 28 years. I never broke service. Right. So I got out, kind of retired and floated around a couple of home-based businesses that didn't pan out. I am not one of these people who goes, it was all stacked against me. I believe that most of it was my fault, my responsibility. I am one of those rare birds who says you own, I like to tell people, own your shit.
Yep.
And when I do, my podcast, which everybody knows is kind of inflammatory, it is all based around owning your shit. I play the trumpet. I honor our fallen veterans by performing taps in front of headstones. In fact, we are preparing for our Memorial Day event at Fort Logan National Cemetery. Wow. So for those of you watching, send Josh the name of a loved one, a battle buddy, a shipmate, a Marine, a wingman, I don't care. that if the only requirement is they have to have served and they're no longer with us. And if they're not buried at Fort Logan, they go into a roll call. I start that roll call with George Washington, so people get to hear their loved ones' names next to General George Washington. He's the only one that I give a rank to because that's George.
Right.
I co-founded a big band, so I mean, obviously, music seems to be a big thing for me. Kind of floated, man. I mean, I stumbled into a gig that I actually kind of like being a bus driver. It turned out to be a lot less stressful than everybody tells you it's going to be. I focus on special needs, and I drive non-CDL, so I drive the short bus. And for those of you who don't know, I stand 5'1.5", so I am the short bus driver driving the short bus. That's the running joke. So humor is a big deal. It's something that I think is important. So that's what I focus on.
Absolutely.
Married with kids? No, just ignore that. That was a spam call. Y'all might have been really entertained if I had answered it.
I'm getting so many of those lately for political crap. I'm so sick and tired. I got one at 9 o'clock the other night. I'm trying to go to bed.
Man, I got one like 3 days ago, and it was telling me that I had applied for a loan, and I went ahead and got all the way to the live person, and I says, I've never applied for a loan. Well, we have you. I says, I've never applied for a loan. And then I got really, really nasty with them, and they hung up. So, at some point you got to confront them and very harshly deal with them. And I understand they got a job to do too. I'm once again, I'm not empathetic towards them. I've never really been in that situation, but I am sympathetic. I mean, that's a rough gig, man. Talk about being prepared for rejection.
Right. Yeah. That is definitely not one job I want to be doing.
Oh, no, never. I'll never do that gig. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to know? I mean, how did I adjust?
Yeah, so man, you hit on so many things. So let's take it back a little bit. Being a yeoman in the Navy, for those that don't know, that's a desk job. Paperwork. Yep, paperwork. We all love our paperwork. That's one of the people. I'm for the new Navy guys out there. You need a yeoman friend because they'll put so much stuff into your jacket that you'll look amazing. So make a yeoman friend out there,
man.
They absolutely can. So how did you take that yeoman job? Did you take the desk work with you when you left and turn it into a desk work job career? Or
no, I did not.
Okay.
Right. I really didn't want, like, when I got out, and I'm constantly looking for positions that are I'm always looking for more fulfillment in what I do. And I surprisingly enough found fulfillment with what I'm doing right now, but I didn't want to do what I did in the military. I'm capable of doing what I did in the military, but I'm not in the military now. And I wasn't your typical yeoman. I volunteered for everything. I volunteered for law enforcement. When I was on the ship, I volunteered for the hardest, most dangerous things to do in damage control. Internal monitor for CBR. I was the moron who volunteered for all of that stuff.
You're the reason why they came up with never again volunteer yourself.
I was, and I was like the antithesis of never again volunteer yourself. Like I looked at it, says never. I don't understand the never part. I think it was the VY that I just was really attracted to, and that kind of goes. But that stuff carried over. The willingness to do more carried over from the military for me. I'm what's called a standby driver. So I am the break glass in case of emergency guy. Yeah. When they need a route filled or double route or triple route, I'm the guy they call. Not to brag too much, but I'm really good at what I do. I'm a damn good bus driver, and I am extremely efficient with what I do. I keep everything to a minimum. Like everybody says, he drives so smooth that you don't even realize we're almost done with the route. I'm like, that's because
Right.
there's no wasted movement. I don't want
Right.
wasted movement, and I don't want wasted time. You know,
Yeah.
I just that is ingrained from military. That's a military thing.
Yeah.
You don't waste time. You know, and
Right.
I always make the joke, time is money, but the reality is time is money. And I always looked at it from that perspective. But I didn't want to get back in and just doing the same stuff that I did before. In fact, I went to school initially as a paralegal and then realized, holy crap, that's office work. I don't really want that.
Right.
I don't want to physically beat myself to death either. But I really, and I've been offered, hey, you should come in and do supervisor work. Is behind the desk? Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to be out in the middle of the dirt, so to speak. So for me, that's what it boiled down to, and it was different from when I first got out, because when you first get out, you're kind of lost. You spent 4 years, and for those of us who did see combat, you had moments that were pretty intense. And look, us sailors, our idea of combat and boots on ground idea of combat are two very different things.
Different.
I don't shy away from that. However, when you're on a ship and the system is telling you that you're about to get hit with a missile, your heightened awareness, it turns into fight or flight.
Yeah.
You're preparing to do your job. And so that is all real. I mean, I don't want to.
And not only that, but the guys that are on the VBSS team, right? That are going out there and searching those dinghies and those dallies, and you never know what's on one of those things,
right?
Until you walk down that hole and you see. Yep. So it's like you could walk into a room with a bomb, or you could walk into a room full of rugs.
Yeah, and it could be a nothing burger or something, right? And so without downplaying the guys who were boots on ground. Yeah, I have seen combat. I know what I do know what combat looks like. It didn't affect me as much as it did others. I don't, to my knowledge, suffer from PTS, and I call it PTS. I don't like the disorder part of it.
Yeah,
because I believe that the disorder part puts such a nasty stigma on something that every human being has. Every human being has suffered from a form of traumatic stress or another.
Right.
I don't know, Josh. When you were young, did you get whooped? Did you ever get whooped?
Oh yeah.
You got a whooping from mom and dad, right? Look,
right.
Man, that's stress.
I had a guest on the other day that pointed that out, that a lot of things, come from childhood trauma. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, my childhood wasn't that bad. I wasn't traumatized by anything. But then you start talking about the whoopings and things like that. And it's like, okay, maybe you could see that as trauma, but I don't. I saw it as I messed up and I took my beating.
Yesterday when we did the show, I actually told the story of the worst whooping I got from my mom was from my mom. And the worst whooping my dad and my mom whooped, back in the day when that was like considered acceptable.
Yeah.
My mom made me and my brother go out and basically select our punishment weapon of choice, and we had to bring a switch in, and I told the whole story. They she made us trout and macaroni and cheese, and it wasn't until after the ass whooping that we took that I realized that that was like the final meal. That was like the last meal. It was like, now I understand, right?
Right. That's like when you get that surf and turf on the ship, what's coming.
It's like whenever someone starts, talking about, hey, we should try to push for an extra day off or snow day, and I tell them, hey, why are you gonna like tempt steak and lobster? And they go, what the hell is steak and lobster? So I have to explain what steak and lobster is. And they're going, so steak and lobster is a bad thing. I says, yes, steak and lobster is actually a bad thing. And then you explain why. And they're like, you sailors are weird, man. I'm like, no, we don't eat the steak and lobster. Most of us are just bent out of shape over it. So when I got out, of course, it was different than Vietnam veterans. When they got out, they got, accosted and insulted and spat
Right.
on. When, the difference in time and the difference in, we had a set bad guy. Vietnam was just this one big hodgepodge of confusion. And, I kind of brought up what's going on in our world today with ICE being vilified the way it is. Well, technology has created this environment. And when you look to the Vietnam War, World War II was not looked at in the same manner as Vietnam. In fact, neither was Korea. But Vietnam was the first one where you had real-time reporting and real-time correspondence, and it was in your face every day. And some of the things that soldiers do and soldiers did was not good. They had to do bad things, and it kind of shocks society. So
that's when they started putting it all on TV.
That's right.
That's the first one that came out on TV.
And
that's where they
correct.
put the bad stuff out there, and that's where everything started going downhill.
And they didn't show you a balance. So what's happening with ICE right now? You're not seeing a balance. You're only seeing the bad side. And it's worse because it's literally on these stupid little things where they can show you in real time, but they show you like 100 different angles. I watched a video yesterday of a girl getting hit by an SUV, and they show one angle of it. And when you look at it, it's like, this is shocking. And then there's another angle because someone else was videoing it from the other side. And it shows she wasn't innocent. She jumped in front of the car. She was trying to obstruct. And this wasn't even an ICE car. This was just a stupid person doing stupid thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't see that second picture, that person intentionally run over that girl. This is the challenge that we have as a society right now of how do you combat that? Well, I always just tell people, don't just take one picture when you know there's going to be multiples, right? And that is a perspective thing also. I'm not saying that everybody is perfect. I know I'm not. Jesus criminy, I am not by any stretch of the imagination. But I try to be well read, and I try to be well informed. When people ask me what I lean on, even at the age of 28 years in the military, I retired, I still look to the United States Constitution and the Declaration of Independence as my primary source of inspiration and knowledge and guidance, as well as, not to get too religious, but the Bible is a big deal also, right?
Yeah.
So I got married, had 2 kids, served in the military, went to Cuba. My job in Cuba was guiding politicians through the various farmers and all of that stuff. I think I had a worse job than the guards did of the detainees, because I had to deal with politicians. But that was kind of a rewarding gig. I've been all over the world. I wish I could go to more places in the world. I play my horn. I still love playing my horn. And that's where giving back to the veteran community, and my way of giving back is so different from others. I don't do what I do. I stand in front of headstones, man. I play for those who are no longer here. We talk about not having a voice. I literally am honoring those people by giving them their voice. That the 24 notes is everything. And it does help people. I mean, you stand in front of a loved one's headstone and you give them that moment in time. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Right.
And it makes all the difference in the world to those people. It really does. And I don't ask for anything. I mean, it is a nonprofit. We're called National Honor Tour, but honestly, we don't do it for the money. We do it to go out there and do the work. And who knows where the hell it's going to go.
So let's talk. You touched on one thing. You didn't take the yeoman job with you, but you took those other skills.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what a lot of our veterans are getting stuck on, because they're trying to translate that job that they had into their next job. And they don't remember that you use that stuff that you learned in day one boot camp, your teamwork, your attention to detail,
Yeah.
your leadership, all the different things. So there's so many different things that you can take out of that if you're just going to leave it behind.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I come in to the job I'm at now, and I've been there now going on 3 years. And honestly, the reason I got the job, when everybody asks, why did you, get hired on as a bus driver? I'm like, because you were the only ones that would take me. I mean, I applied at Lowe's and Home Depot, and nobody. We're talking about the previous administration. They claimed that there were a lot of jobs. There wasn't crap. There was nothing out there, right?
Right.
I told them I took it because we need to pay our bills. I mean, that's just the reality is reality. I don't shy away from it. I'm not going to hide. But one of the things when I took the job was I looked at what I do as a mission. And the mission is getting these kids from point A to point B, whether it's home to school or school to home, getting them there as close to on time as possible. But God, you got to be safe. If those kids are scared in my bus, I didn't do my job. If those kids are comfortable and happy when they get off that bus, I've done my job. And I have preschoolers who give me hugs. I don't want hugs. I don't even look. You guys aren't my kids.
I don't even want the kids I got.
At times I don't. but the mission, and I always tell people, this is the mission. And we do have a mission statement, and it is to transport children to and from school on time and ready to learn. I don't care about the ready to on time. Safe is more important to me than on time. Now, am I on time? Yes, because the military instilled certain habits that never went away. I don't like to be late. In fact, I obsess over not being late.
Early is on time is late. Late is unsaid.
Late your way, right? And I don't play that game. That is just something I don't do. I also don't get involved in the office drama or the break room drama. There's things I hear a lot. I bite my tongue all the time. That's because when I was in Cuba, I was Joint Task Force. For those of you who know Joint Task Force, you pick up little things from the other branches. And the thing I picked up from the United States Army, thank you, Army, was stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. Life is so much easier if you just don't get into anybody else's crap. You can be friends with everybody. You can talk to each other, and if they ask you for advice, but don't cross over, because you don't know.
I think that would solve a lot of the world's problems right now.
Would it?
I'm telling you. It's like, why are you getting in on somebody else's business that has nothing to do with you?
Right.
Stop.
Right. And it's ridiculous because it's completely unnecessary, and it takes way too much energy, and quite frankly, I don't have the energy for that.
Right. Yeah.
When you and I were talking beforehand, we stay away from politics on certain shows.
Mm-hmm.
My show does not stay away from politics because, like you and I were talking about, we talk about current events in my show. Well, guess what? Politics is a huge part of current events, whether we like it or whether we don't. Iran. I am still following and tracking what's going on in Iran because I was a kid when the Ayatollah took over in 79, right? And so I remember all of that as a young person. And I remember all of the chants that are happening even today. And I'm like, they're the bad guys. And they are bad guys. They are the worst of the worst to their own people. And I think that we as a world need to fight that fight, so to speak. I have a good friend of mine who's prior military. He owns a intelligence gathering company, and he did a post the other day about Christians being the most persecuted religious people in the world. And the numbers are staggering. And we live in a nation right now where you can't criticize other religions without being accosted for it. But boy, you look around the world and, I think to date, 5,800 have been killed, Christians.
Yeah.
mostly in Nigeria, like 3,800 in Nigeria in the past month. You were talking about the suicide rate. I mean, it's sad because we should be a human race that allows each other to be and to do.
Yeah.
Right. As long as you ain't hurting someone, I don't care. I've said that a million times. So that's one of the things that I think that we need to tackle. I mean,
you bring up a good point with that, because when you're serving in especially the Navy, but in all the branches, but in the Navy, because we're so closely confined on ships, we work with people from every race, creed, religion, color, and as far as I know, nobody ever cared what you did or what you prayed to or any of that, because nobody pushed on you. We fought side by side. We knew who your husband or spouse was, your kids.
Right.
That's what people nowadays need to learn from the military is you can work side by side with somebody that you're completely opposite from.
Absolutely.
And still get the job done.
Absolutely. And when I was in the Gulf, my brother, talked to him on the phone, right? And in the middle of the conversation, he goes, "Are you black?" I said, "No." I said, "But dude, I live on a ship with black people and they talk like that. And you pick it, whether you want to or whether you don't, you pick up dialects and you pick up things like that, right? And it isn't something that happens intentionally, because as soon as he brought it up, I started talking quote unquote normal again, which is, another thing. Whether you talk, but I'll use accents all the time, right? And I just think that the backgrounds that the military, and they want to call it diversity. It's not diversity. It's joining a group. That diversity is a very small element of the military. I actually don't think it's even close to the most important element. Being diverse doesn't help you. It's how you mesh together that helps you. When you go out, like when I go out and I do a pre-trip on a coworker's bus, I'm helping that coworker so that they don't have to spend any more time out in the weather than they need to. I have the ability to just block all that out. I still, man, it's December. It's February. I'm wearing shorts.
I know.
Everybody's looking at me like I'm outside my mind. I'm like, no, it's really not that cold, and it's not like you're out in it that long. So it's a matter of perspective. Something that helped me, and this is a recent thing. I didn't even know that there was a term for this, and don't ask me to repeat it because I can't pronounce it. If you guys go onto my Facebook page, you'll see pictures of flags on the flagpole. Well, that's my flagpole, and those are my flags. And I really got into flags in 2020. Because I went to actually 2021. It was 2020. And it was right when the craziness of C-19 was just starting to gain its idiotic momentum. And I had just basically started taking pictures of American flags and, kind of posting their history and their information. It was just something I was doing. And then my mom calls me and says, "Hey, I know you like flags." I says, "Yeah." She goes, "You should look at the Gadsden flag." And I looked at the Gadsden flag and I go, "Well, yeah, I know that flag. Who doesn't know the Gadsden flag, right?"
Right.
Well, Christopher Gadsden is my grandfather 7 generations. So the Gadsden flag is a part of my heritage. And that triggered me into kind of looking at other flags. So now I rotate flags once a week. And the flag that is up there, up on my flagpole now, is the first official Navy flag, which is 13 stripes and 13 stars in columns, like our American flag is now, because it represents where our flags were going. Now, there is another one I have to get that is, I don't remember the name of it, but because I'm going to keep getting more. I've got to get the Appeal to Heaven flag. I've got to get, all of our historical, especially American Revolution flag, because I just believe wholeheartedly that our history is important, and those flags represent our history and our legacy. So I become a collector of flags. And then, believe it or not, there's a term for it. There's I am actually this kind of person that does this goofy thing with flags. But I'll take a bunch of pictures of them and fly them out, and it's a blast. There's Joel, fun with flags. We're gonna do a whole show on that. We're gonna do a whole show on flags, man, because I got a lot of them.
I know that reminds me of Big Bang Theory. Sheldon's fun with flags. I guess we got to set up another show on NBR now.
Yeah, man, it's called Fun with Flags, man. Fun with Flags with Mark. I don't know, man. We'll figure something out. But like the flag that's going to go up next week is the Fort Sumter flag.
Yeah,
and it's the last of my new flags. I got 6 flags over the holidays for Christmas. And I mean, we're talking about Washington's headquarters flag, the Bennington flag. I've got flags that would blow your mind because they're so different, but they represent who and what we are as Americans. And the reason I picked the Sumter flag is kind of crazy. We are as divided now as we were. We were truly divided when Fort Sumter fell. We are pretty damn close now. So when I fly that flag, it's not just for the historical, it's a warning. That flag was flown on a day where a group of Americans told another group of Americans, you are not welcome here.
Right.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
And as a member, as a previous member of the military, it makes me scared.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be that way. At the end of the day, I've told people, political, religious, I don't care. You're an American, we are brothers. You're an American, you're my sister. I try real hard to keep that in mind, no matter what political affiliation people have, because at the end of the day, it's just politics, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I got into collecting damn flags, man.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I collect American flags, flown from whatever places, and one that reminds me that I got that goes back to the skills that you take from the service. And in my role where I work now, in a previous role, I was helping a customer of ours, and I was working in the financial industry, and he had an issue with his car. He needed to get the title on it because he's fixing to deploy overseas. Wanted to sell it, get all that stuff done, right? And so, I was like, kind of older car. I was like, well, I'm going to have to do some digging for you. I got to call the DMV, figure out what we can do for you. I was like, let me get your email. And so he gave it to me, and it was a SOCOM address. I was like, okay. Coming from the military, I was like, wait a minute. I know what SOCOM is. Right. So I started talking to him on the phone, and turns out he's over the SOCOM base over in Florida. I forget which one, but he's over like the whole region over there in SOCOM. And so just talking back and forth. Right. And so I was like, okay, well, now that I know he's a veteran, now that I know he's going on deployment, I know what that's like. I'm going to get this done as fast as I can. Right. So I come back and I'm like, look, okay, I talked to the DMV. I need you to sign this, this, and this. I need you to send it back to me, notarized. I'll get it sent over there with our signatures. So when I get the package back from him with all the documents that I need signed, in it was an American flag and a letter from his base saying this flag was flown over the SOCOM base over here. I'm like,
cool, man.
That right there is why, you continue to do the work, be the best that you can be, put it all in, help people out. And that right there, how often is that going to happen? Right. So I've got that flag and so many others. Right. I'm like, yeah. I tell everybody at work, and they're like, okay, what's so big deal about a SOCOM flag? Or I'm like, I have to explain it to them, and they're still like, I don't understand. I'm like, okay, well, go away.
It's like my daughter gets this letter, and it was from West Point, and it was an invitation to apply at West Point.
Oh wow.
And okay, so I geeked out over it so bad that I still have the letter. It's in my file
Of
cabinet.
course.
And she's like,
Of
Dad,
course.
it's not that big of a deal. It's just, Marina, they don't
It is.
just pick anybody. You have
Right.
a better chance of being accepted at Harvard, Yale, or any one of those crazy, stupid places than you do
Yeah.
being accepted at West Point. You
You
just the
you gotta
invite
like have a
is
letter from the president to get
a
into that.
huge deal, man. I mean, a
Yeah.
congressman has to sponsor you for any
Yeah.
of the academies, right? And what I
Yeah.
told her is I am waiting for the one from Annapolis. It never came. I was so
Wow.
sad she never got a letter from Annapolis.
Well, we have higher standards, I guess.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a Navy thing, right? But my daughter is currently in South Africa right now, going to the University of Cape Town for a semester abroad,
Okay.
and I'm so proud of her. But the
Yeah.
duality of being proud and scared is just insane.
Yeah.
She's doing good. She just got there last week, and she's just getting herself settled in. I think they actually start the curriculum either this week or next week. But I think one of the things that helped me was I never focused on the events. I focused on the mission. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is a traumatic event is just that. It's an event. And it's really easy to get fixated on that event, where
Yeah.
I never really looked at the event as being the be all end all. The mission was everything. It didn't matter what, I mean, as mundane as some of being out to sea and some of that stuff is, to me, it was still the mission. And going home,
Mhm.
I never really looked at anybody as if they were weaker than I was when they didn't serve or any of that stuff, because I was always of the mindset that we all choose what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to do. I never looked at it from, oh, I'm better than you because I served in the military. Man, nobody's
Yeah.
better than anybody. How we
Yeah.
treat each other, dare I say, treating each other with respect and dignity is the single most important thing we can do. And I try to teach people the following: don't call it empathy, because empathy is not treating people. That's not what empathy is. And I've had to try to explain to people, well, you should be empathetic. No, I can't be empathetic. And then they go, what do you mean? I go, have you ever been on a ship in damage control? Or have you ever been on a ship where they were telling you to brace for shock because a missile is supposedly about ready to hit your ship? No, then you can't be empathetic to that experience. You didn't
Right.
share it with me. You can't be empathetic. It isn't that you don't care. That's not, empathy is not caring. Empathy is saying,
Right.
hey, I've been where you are. That's empathy. And veterans are unique because we
Yes.
all share that thing, whether we
Right.
are boots on ground Marines or Navy SEALs or grunt army or artillery. Hey, just for the Army guys, y'all guns are really cute, but I served on a battleship. I served on the Wisconsin. So your howitzers are they're nice little shooters, right?
I know. Of course, my favorite was the 25 Mike. That's where I still watch all the time. But
Right.
being in sonar, we're right under the 5-inch, and I'll tell you what, that thing's loud.
Right?
Jesus, that's loud. Yeah,
Um,
that's why I have all this tinnitus going on. Is that 5-inch going on?
but I think that there's confusion when people go, well, we want you to be empathetic. Well, I can't be empathetic to
Yeah.
Peyton Manning because I've never been a professional football player. I can
Right.
be sympathetic to the fact that the dude had multiple neck surgeries. I can be sympathetic to my buddy who is a door gunner on a Black Hawk who shot a 13-year-old kid. I
Yeah.
can be sympathetic, and I'll have your back and I'll be your ear. But don't ask me to be in your shoes, because you couldn't be in mine any more than I could be in yours. For us veterans, this is the best guidance I can give veterans is, and this is going to be so freaking cliche, you're going to puke. when they say one day at a time, we ain't joking. One day, one step, 1 minute, one breath. It is enough. And you're talking about the 22. I've played for more 22s than I even want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a part of a group of people in the Springs that I had to pull away from because we would have one of these incidents happen and they're all congregating in a bar. And it dawned on me, let me see if I got this straight, because I'm not a drinker and I'm not judging anybody for drinking. But let me get this straight. You all are depressed because this guy was depressed or whatever. His demons beat him. And where are you at? You're at a place where you are intentionally taking depressants. Do you not understand the twisted logic that represents? So I ended up becoming the elephant in the room, which is why they stopped asking me to come, because they would say, he had our number. I go, yeah, he had all of our numbers and it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The demons got him. We won't judge him.
Y'all also had his number. Did you call him? Because it's not about it. It's not. You can't wait for them to reach out to you. You've got to reach out to them and meet them on their level.
It is that two-way street. And that was one of the things that I tried to get people to understand is you're telling the world that you can save somebody that didn't want to be saved. You couldn't have saved him if you'd wanted to. And if you called him and you tried, then you did all you could do. Give them a moment to pause. I always tell everybody, anybody out there, whether they're veterans or not, if you're thinking about ending your life, take a moment and breathe. That can save your life as quickly as a phone call, because you're stopping and you're taking that moment of pause. Gives you a chance to go. But when you stop that breathing and you just start hyperventilating and you start freaking out, that's when it becomes overwhelming, and that's when you see a lot of what happening. And a lot of the time it's just, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to wake up in the sweats anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not me, because like I said, I honestly don't believe that I ever suffered from that kind of traumatic stress, but I've been around people who have. And when I talk to them about that concept, they basically say, I never thought of it that way. So of the things that I did to transition, a lot of it was, I don't know, call it blissful ignorance. I mean, some people just do that. I didn't let the things that happened dictate how I was going to behave moving forward. And I think
that's what a lot of people get caught up on as well, is they have that bad day and they get fixated on it, and then every day after that's a bad day. But then that's where I try to point them back, like, look, day one of boot camp, you didn't always have the best days in boot camp, right?
Oh God, no.
You're the same person that you were in boot camp that you are now. You just have more tools in your bag now. So if you can make it through boot camp knowing that it's at some point it's going to get better, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to go to the fleet. Right. This too shall pass, and it's going to get better.
It falls under the category of, here's the old data, here's the new data, and the old data plus the new data is the culmination of where you're going. And I think a lot of veterans look at the end of service as the end. I also never looked at the end of my service as being something of a finale. I always looked at it as, hey, I'm now moving on to something else. And I never realized that me moving on to something else would keep me in my Navy uniform and have me standing in front of headstones. But it did. Yeah. It did. I mean, I always tell the joke, well, what do? I play for dead people. And they go, that sounds morbid. I go, it's an honor thing. And then they go, well, have you ever gotten any complaints? And I go, no, thank God. Because if I ever get a complaint, there might be a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, I travel the country. I've been to Killeen, Texas 4 times to perform for unaccompanied veterans. I went to Corpus Christi, Texas, and played for an unaccompanied sailor, and then went to the ship, the Gray Ghost, the Lexington, and played five or six songs on the deck of the Lex. Just I had the horn with me. I was in uniform. They let me on, and they said I could do it, so I did it. People are like, "Who are you?" Awesome. I'm Mark.
Just Mark.
I'm Mark. I play the trumpet. When I'm in the bus, I am just known as the bus driver. I mean, literally, they say, "What's your first name?" The.
I know that's one thing you get from the military as well. It's like, what is your first name? I was like, I don't know. I don't even know my last name. What is my first name anymore?
I remember getting out and someone would call me by my first name, and I would look around, and then I would hear my last name, and then I would turn to it.
Yeah,
this is like Stallins, It's the other guidance that we should give guys. Reach out to your brothers, the ones that you served with, the ones that you went. Reach out. In June, a bunch of us from the USS Wisconsin, the admin office for the USS Wisconsin, we're getting together at one of the farms, at one of our shipmates' farms. He's got a farm in Arkansas, and we're just gonna go and reminisce. And my birthday is gonna fall on that time frame, so we're gonna celebrate. And I'm gonna have a shot, but I'm not gonna get drunk because I don't need to do that. But we're gonna all hang out and cook and raise hell, and it's gonna be on a farm, so you can do whatever the hell you want and make about it as much noise. We've already told one of them, because he's in his 50s and he's never been to a strip club, so we're gonna go to a strip club and drag his ass with us. I'm like, you waited 58 years for this, man. What's wrong with you?
Oh man.
So
all right, Mark. So look, we're coming up at the end of the hour here on Full Speed Ahead, and like I always do with all my people, even though my Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl this year, I still run all my guests through a 2-minute drill at the end.
Oh, crap.
2 minutes to speak your mind, speak your heart, whatever you want it to be. The floor is yours for 2 minutes, or however long you want to take. Nobody ever takes 2 minutes, but all yours.
All right. Honor, courage, and commitment. The Army's got their own version. The Marine Corps has got their own. Actually, Marine Corps has got honor, courage, commitment too. Apply that to everything in your life, and you will never go wrong. Do things that are the right things, whether people are looking or not. I have become a very firm believer that you do things the right way for the right reasons, and you can sleep at night. Never forget that your service absolutely mattered. It doesn't matter whether it was 4 years. It doesn't matter whether it was 20 years. None of that matters. The fact that you were willing to write that blank check is everything. This is probably the best thing I tell everybody. Get yourself multiple copies of the United States Constitution and the Founders' documents and read them. They are the link from the past to the present. And don't let anybody ever tell you we should rewrite it. If you don't understand it, why are you rewriting it in the first place? You need to understand it. And they are our rights, and we defended them. You better know what the hell you defended. I firmly believe that. The other thing is, once again, if you guys want me to honor your loved ones on Memorial Day weekend, we take names. We have never refused a performance, and we've been doing this since 2015. My dad's buried at Fort Logan, so yeah. So I don't know if I took the full 2 minutes, maybe a minute 30.
You're good. You're good. You're good. All right, Mark. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. You are absolutely welcome here anytime.
Cool. Yeah, man, absolutely.
Those tuning in, catch Mark on Freedom Chat, right? On NPR.
Yep. Sunday morning.
Podcast on there?
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock Eastern. 1 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Be prepared to be pissed off.
We're not getting into that one. All right, Mark.
And hey,
have a good night, brother.
Thank you, man. And like I tell people at the end of my show, God bless you all. God bless the United States of America.
There you go. Have a good night, Mark.
Thank you, brother.
All right, y'all. That wraps up another episode of Full Speed Ahead After Battle here on Military Broadcast Radio. I am your mental health coach, Josh McCabe. You can find me on Facebook at Josh McCabe. You can find me on Instagram at FSA_After Battle. Catch me on YouTube, anywhere else, Spotify, all those different places to catch the recap of this show, catch all the other shows. Got another great guest coming up next week for more discussions on transition, mental health, veteran suicide. But as you heard from Mark tonight, use those things that you learned in the service, the boot camp. Remember those skills, the leadership skills, the teamwork, the attention to detail, all that different stuff. Just because you get out of the military and you don't go into the same kind of job doesn't mean you don't have those skills that you learn. You can do anything you put your mind to. You can become a school bus driver. You can work in an office. All right? You're more than capable of doing that. And like I always say, no matter what you do, you're not in this battle alone. Just like you're in boot camp and fighting in a war, you have brothers and sisters to your left and the right of you, front and the back of you. Everybody you could count on. There's still those people out there that you can still count on. You're still the same person that you were in boot camp, that you were in the field, that you were when you were deployed. You just have more tools in your tool bag now to be able to take care of those problems. Every day might be a battle, and every battle comes to an end, but you can get through that just like every other time. It just takes that deep breath, reach out to someone, talk to someone before it's too late. And not only that, but for the people that aren't struggling, reach out to your friends and your coworkers and all your battle buddies that maybe they got that smile on that face. It's always that one person that thinks that looks like life is going great, like they have no care in the world. Those are the ones that are hurting because they're putting that false face on. They're trying to hide the pain that's inside them. Those are the people that we need to be reaching out to. Reach out to everybody, though. So until next week, as I always say, you're not in the battle alone. We're here for you. Reach out if you need me. Anybody at MBR will be happy to talk to you. You're not in the fight alone. We're here to help. You'll be okay. You'll get through it. You'll move on. See you next week for another great show. Dismissed.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.